Story 1. Former local journalist here. If you want to know something about your town, or pretty much anything locally, or find something suspicious that you want investigated, just call or email them and ask, what's happening with that? Insert weird item in city budget, shut down road, cop who got fired. When I was off deadline, I actually loved fielding these questions. They were mainly from older people, and pretty much worked as customer service for the city a lot. I directed people to local programs that would help them, confirmed the start and proposed end dates of construction, and told people what companies had pulled permits to build that new restaurant on Main Street. Local journalists have a wealth of knowledge in all departments of what is going on in your city because they drift between one or the other frequently, and we ask the other reporters in the cubicle next to us too. They're your tour guides, social workers, watchdogs, and public defenders if you just ask them. They aren't doing it for the money. They're doing it for the love of their community. They all really embrace the localism aesthetic. I guess this is sort of a not supposed to find out thing because if everyone did it, they'd never get their other work done. Story 2. I worked at a restaurant, and one time the chef burned the applesauce that was supposed to be served with the pork chop. He put it on the menu as smoked applesauce, and people loved it. Story 3. Accounting is called a sticky business because we don't lose clients often, unless we are terrible. We continually raise rates and overcharge because we know clients will just stay with the same person they know, rather than search around. It may be hard to evaluate who is a bad, good, or great accountant, but that won't matter unless you have a difficult situation or specialized work to be done. What matters is you might find an accountant willing to do the same work for much cheaper if you can just put in a little extra time to ask them to estimate their rates. Think of it this way. People regularly go to different grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas station marts to save a few dollars on things like eggs, candy, or milk. I found eggs for $1.50 when they're normally $2.50 is some big accomplishment. What if you found an accountant willing to do your work for $3,000 instead of $5,000? Isn't that worth a few more calls and meetings that you would gladly use time on to find cheaper eggs? Story 4. This was 6 to 7 years ago, so it may not be relevant, but when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, the higher-ups were so focused on positive customer reviews that if there was any problem at all, we would write off anything from gas to whole days of rentals. We had a few repeat customers that would catch on and habitually complain about insignificant issues to get parts of the bill discounted. Only a rating of completely satisfied counted, and it was tied to bonuses and promotions, so there was a huge incentive to make people happy. Story 5. Good audio engineers will have faders and knobs that don't do anything. When the talent asks for a change that's goofy or makes no sense, we will adjust that phantom knob and watch them nod their head in approval of their amazing idea. Story 6. When I worked in a hotel as a night porter, the room cost was entirely dependent on your behavior. I couldn't just give rooms away, but I could reduce the cost by around 50%. One day, a very tired woman came in with her baby, and I couldn't process her payment. I gave her the room for free, ensuring she checked out before 9 a.m., and I cleaned it myself. Thank you for all the upvotes, awards, and kind words. Story 7. Dog trainer. This is a technique we want people to understand. One reason we can get your dog to do something so fast is because we use a high rate of reinforcement. Example. I'm training your dog to walk on a leash without pulling, and we practice in your driveway. I feed the dog 20 tiny pieces of food by my knee as we walk to the end of the driveway. The first time a client tries the exercise, they may use 5. The mechanics of the exercise look easy, but it takes time to get used to. And when people are practicing on their own, they do other things instead of focusing on the exercise. They forget how often they need to reinforce the dog for doing the right thing. If they do the exercise for 2 minutes during each walk with a high rate of reinforcement, that may be all it takes. And once the dog starts to learn, you can gradually slow down the rate of reinforcement. Story 8. Former movie theater manager. As long as you purchase something and don't cause a fuss, you can see multiple movies and no one cares. It's only an issue if you cause an issue and we need the concessions. Also, we all know that you sneak stuff in. Most impressive I've seen? A full rotisserie chicken and a box of wine snuck into Magic Mike. It's okay as long as you don't cause a scene and, again, buy something. Sneak in that candy. Buy the popcorn. Story 9. If you or a teenager you know are admitted to a name brand, expensive, or prestigious college and their financial aid package isn't enough, write to them and ask for more money. Mention the other schools you were admitted to and that you received strong financial packages from them. Do not mention specific numbers unless it's a named scholarship, such as presidential or provost. At least 5 of my students this year received between $10,000 to $20,000 extra in scholarship money just by soliciting for it. Story 10. I used to work in the floral industry. Do not call a large national florist. Look up a local florist in your recipient's area and call them directly. Most have websites to help you choose, and you'll save money on delivery and service fees, which can go towards a nicer arrangement. Also, unless you order flowers regularly, the membership or loyalty program is a scam and hard to cancel. Story 11. When a car salesman offers you a premium car care package, do not buy it. It's a scam. Say you're buying a new car, and I offer you the premium car care package. It will only cost you a certain amount of money per month, but every time you come to the dealership, you get * premium car wash, we hose it down, not a proper car wash. * interior detailing and rejuvenation, we use compressed air to make the dust go away. Sometimes a person uses a wet paper towel. * functions check and clock synchronization. Check if all the lights work, heater and air conditioning work, and set up the clock if it's wrong. * summer and winter inspection and free wiper fluid refill. Only done once per season. Check tire tread. Visually check tire pressure. Look at the temperature gauge to make sure the car isn't overheating. Add water in the summer. A tiny amount of wiper fluid in winter. Visually inspect brake discs to see they are not scratched by worn-out brake pads. * assistance when you are on the move, you call us, and then we can call a tow truck for you at your expense. Only possible during business hours. Basically, we charge for simple things you can do yourself. Also, if a car dealership sells you a used car and they told you it has been fully serviced, take it to your local mechanic and have it serviced properly. Story 12. Delivery driver here. Not much of a hack, but many people don't seem to know this. If you create an account with the courier who is delivering your parcel, when logged in you can set up a safe place where we can deliver your parcel if you're not at home. We'll follow the instructions and leave it wherever you want us to, within reason, of course. You can probably also do it from the tracking link, but with an account, it will be set up for every single delivery to your address automatically. Makes both our lives a lot easier. Story 13. I used to work in credit cards. If you disputed a charge for less than $75, not as fraud, we would just credit you the money. Most of the time, we wouldn't even investigate it past the initial chargeback. If we didn't win the case, you still got your money back. However, if we found out you'd figured this out, we would stop giving you the credit unless we won. We've even closed accounts that took advantage of it. But if you want your money back as a one-time thing or whatever, you'd be fine. Story 14. Most industries have retention teams because it costs 10 times more to acquire a new customer than to keep an existing one. So if you call and threaten to cancel every time they raise your rates, they'll probably give you the introductory rate. Just be aware that you might have to switch. Another thing I'm seeing a lot is people getting shut down with no explanation. If that happens, hang up and call back. Just say you got disconnected and you might have better luck with another operator. Yes, they take notes, but some representatives are more empowered than others. Also, feel free to escalate. Make sure you know how long you've been a customer and how long you've been up to date on your bill. Story 15. Not sure if your homeowner's insurance will cover something? Apply this one simple rule. Was the damage caused by a sudden and one-time occurrence? If the answer is yes, 99% of the time you are covered. If the answer is no, 99% of the time you are not covered. This advice applies to the United States. Story 16. When I worked as a pharmacy technician, I spent a lot of time calling insurance companies and waiting on hold while the world burned around me. One time, I got impatient with the voice recognition system because it kept hearing background noise and made selections impossible, so I started cursing it out. Turns out, if you use profanity a few times in a short span, the system recognizes you as an angry customer and will switch you to a representative quickly. I did this multiple times to a lot of strange looks from my coworkers until I explained the trick. Quick edit since I'm getting a lot of the same responses. I now know that you can press 0 to get the same results. It's a feature being phased out in places. Shouting representative or operator also works. Story 17. Lean into the bite. I work in pediatrics and we're taught that if a child bites you, lean into it, push whatever part of you they're biting further into their mouth, because their automatic reaction will be to open their mouth, and the risk of them breaking your skin is greatly diminished. Source: I was just bitten at work. Edit: a word and grammar. Also, how is my most upvoted comment about being bitten at work? Story 18. You don't have to buy solar panels from some door knocker for $20,000 to $30,000. There is absolutely nothing magical or financially superior about what they do. You can just buy the parts or a kit and hire an electrician to install it for about half the retail price. Story 19. Academic here. To get a PDF of a paper, you can usually email the author and ask for one. The times I've tried this, they've been happy to share. After checking if it's available on Open Access Manuscript Gateway, of course. Don't mess around with formatting your references manually. Use something like CitationZ to automate the whole process. Story 20. If you know you are shipping something within a few hours' drive of you, always pay for the cheaper shipping option. The premium shipping option is just a markup if you know you are sending something close by. It will arrive the same day regardless. Story 21. If you are nice to my receptionist, I will find a way to squeeze you onto my schedule. If you are difficult, then you can have whatever the next available appointment is. If you make the office staff cry, you will receive a certified letter firing you from the practice. Story 22. I am a singer, and I book a lot of weddings, corporate events, and general gigs. If you come to me directly rather than going through an agency, I can plan and run all the music, whether you want just me and a guitar or a full band and DJ for the afterparty. Can literally save you thousands. Some agencies put a 40 to 60% markup on my services, and I ask them for more than I would charge someone privately. It's crazy. If you are looking for entertainment, try and contact directly. Story 23. Just ask customer service for a replacement. It doesn't matter if you didn't buy an extended warranty. It doesn't matter if there was no warranty to begin with. Many companies just want to resolve customer complaints quickly and will provide free replacements on request. Story 24. Computer engineer here. We ship so many products that have broken features. The product is fused at the factory to disable features that just did not bake fully before we needed to ship. Every product I ever worked on has a half dozen bugs that we could have fixed if only we had more time and money. Eventually, you have to say it is good enough and ship something to make money. Story 25. Many online retailers have what's called cart abandonment marketing strategies. If you put something in your cart and then don't check out, you'll likely receive an email or some kind of message with a discount code to incentivize conversion. If you're going to buy something online, always at least try adding it to your cart and leaving it first before buying. Story 26. I work in information technology and can confidently say that providing bribery in terms of food or snacks will definitely get your issue taken care of faster and will help you jump the line in the ticket queue. Story 27. If you like to book guided tours while you travel and prefer to do it on Viator, TripAdvisor, or Expedia, you should know that those third-party reselling sites take 22 to 25% of the booking price for themselves. When local tour companies like mine put our tour offerings on their sites, we agree to give the sites the lowest price. We cannot post a lower price anywhere because if it's discovered that we do, we will be removed from the platforms. Tour companies like mine will jump to give you a 10 to 15% discount if you call us and mention you were looking to book via Viator, TripAdvisor, or Expedia. You save 10%, we recoup the potential 10 to 15% that those sites would have taken, and everybody wins. Story 28. Call the nurse line on the back of your insurance card before you go to the emergency room. If the nurse tells you to go to the emergency room, insurance should have to bill it as a covered claim. If the nurse does not recommend the emergency room and you still go, you may receive a big bill. Story 29. I work for an airline. I manage the development of the system our call center agents use. Please and thank you will unlock magical doors of help when you're on the phone with the agents or are at the airport dealing with airport staff. Simple politeness no longer seems to exist in these interactions. I've shadowed agents to understand how they use what my teams develop, and I can count on two hands in the 150 to 200 calls I've listened to over the last year where the caller was polite and acted decently towards the other human on the other end of the line. Story 30. I work in the funeral industry, and they don't tell you that the $5,000 casket in the funeral home can be ordered for about $900 from the same place and have it shipped to the funeral home. Most do 2-day shipping. Don't order the flowers through the funeral home. You can get a spray, the flower arrangement that sits on top of the casket, for $100 from Kroger's floral department. The funeral home will charge $300 for the same flowers. You don't need a fancy outer burial container. Just get a concrete box. They will try to sell you a sealed vault that protects the casket. Do you plan on reusing it? There's no need for that.